What's up, everybody? I'm Ethan. Fight me on this.
I'm Jill. I coach Jill down April.
Oh, look at that. That's so cool. I forgot I had that on there. That's so sick. This
Is
is such a sweet
I
hoodie.
forgot
Anyways,
about that.
me too.
Welcome back to the pod.
Cast. And it's great to have you. It's great to be here. Yeah, I get to edit that out.
We're happy you're here.
And just, it's great to be here. It's fucking love doing this with you guys every week. Glad to be back after a little break a couple weeks back. Nice to be back in rhythm with you guys. Yeah, what is your hard, babe? B? Babe's weird.
Yeah, you never call me
babe. I
babe.
never call you that. I don't like that. I absolutely take that back.
I
retract my babe. What's up, bitch?
Depends on the day. Depends on the
Depends
mood.
on where you're kneeling.
Why would you do that to me?
We're perverts.
My heart is your shenanigans.
My heart is because of you.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we'll be PG now. My heart is, as a recovering people pleaser, I have learned that my pet peeve / I'm good is usually what I say to Ethan when something's annoyed me, is when people's defense is to make it my fault. And I mean that in a way of like, things get miscommunicated, things don't go as planned, whatever, and it instantly gets turned of like, well, you didn't do this, or you did that, or you did another thing. Like, First of all, it's not how we have adult conversations, in case you didn't know. We don't just like toss the blame back and forth. And especially I also, as a recovering people pleaser, am very intentional with my words and how I choose to approach conversations. Some of my friends used to be like, you go very like therapy, and I don't like use big words. I don't use fancy words. I'm just very intentional with how I'm approaching a conversation because I never want it to feel like an attack. Nobody likes being like, oh my God. So when I'm very intentional with like, here's how I'm feeling, here's why I'm feeling that way, here's what I need from you, and that gets flipped around to, well, you did that wrong.
Yeah, I fall victim to it sometimes with Jill. I'll say, and I will own that. As we navigate life together, there's triggers that I'm unaware of. There's wounds of little Ethan that come out. And the first thing that happens when those wounds get triggered is to paint a bullseye on someone else. Is to be like, no, this was what happened. This is how I felt. And I want to be, the temper tantrum, because you want to be seen and heard. But there's a maturity in being seen and heard without saying it's their fault. Like, yeah, Jill had the hammer in her hand and dropped it out of her pocket on the landmine that is my trauma. That's nobody's fault. Because, like, what came first, the trauma or the hammer? You know what I mean? Like, because the hammer was built, but the landmine was laid, not by me either. And in that, like, I have to remember that, like, we discovered this thing together. So we got to figure it out together. It's not that you hit the fucking landmine, and from Jill, it's not that you own the goddamn landmine. It's that explosion sucked. What the fuck happened? And we get to go into it that way. I do my best not to paint it as Jill's fault, because it's never, ever fucking her fault.
And I can have a lot of grace when I know somebody's thing. Like, if there's one thing I'm really fucking good at, it's knowing my people. So I can have a lot of grace when I know it's a thing. I know in conversations with Ethan that the first thing I have to do is disarm him and remind him that, like, I'm not the enemy and I'm not here to fight and all of the things. I can have a lot of grace when it's a thing, whether you want it to be a thing or not. But it's just like in communicating with people in general, like when your first go-to is to place blame, I'm not having this conversation with
It's my second, by the way, in my value in this. My first is to turn inward and run. So that's just saying, it's not the first.
Stay here. And we're not fighting.
Just to add the caveat, it's not my first, it's always number 2.
Basically, it's sit down, talk to me, we're not fighting. It's basically the series of words. But yeah, not with Ethan, just
sorry, I'm adding in my comedic shit like I do, but this goes beyond. This is not about me. It's just fucking funny that can tie to me this way.
Yeah, and it's a fairly fresh wound, if you can't tell, right now. But it will just always be a frustrating thing for me, especially when I am the human I am and I'm so intentional with how I choose to word things and how I choose to approach conversations. People pleaser in me would love to just be like, you're right, that's my fault, my bad, but like, we're trying not to do that anymore. So when I'm like, I'm gonna say the thing and bring up the conversation and it's not a conversation, I'm immediately out.
Yeah.
So that's my frustration / hard from the week.
A communication annoyance. And those are always going to be the hard ones, the extra tough ones. Yeah, for anybody, but really when you live life this way, we try to dumb it down, and I say that way. You know when I say that, I'm not saying you're dumb. Like, we try to dumb it down. Like, I have moments where I need shit dumbed down. But like, to be like, this is a people problem. Yeah. It's not because we're poly. It comes into play far more often because we are poly, because we are dealing with more people, with more connection, with more wounds, with more things that need to be addressed, with more boundaries, blah 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 blah, blah with love. Right? There's more of it, but like, this is a people thing. Like, I have a hard time communicating with monogamous people that are bad at communicating. That's just I have moments where I'm shit at communicating, especially when when I know that our morals don't align, or our values don't sync up in ways where I'm pretty hard to reach at that point, and then I'm working on it because I need my perspective changed all the time. But there are limits. Yeah. Anyways, detract. Take it. Take it before I tangent.
Yeah, just a communication thing in general, and it's just like, I'm real bad at communicating sometimes. I'm working on it.
She is.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, like, that was how you did. That was good. You are, and I love you.
But I'm not that bad at communicating. Let me give myself a small brownie point that, like,
pat on back.
Yeah, like, I drop the ball with communication sometimes, but not every time.
But not like that. And it's not like, and it's just like, it's because you will say your shit. Dropping the ball and communicating when we do it, especially when we do it, because I can speak from personal experiences, is a misunderstanding. It's not like we talk, but there was like a piece of information that was left out over here, or a piece of information that was not left out over here, and it's also we said the things together, and they were like, that actually wasn't when we're trying to get to here, and we're not that far off, but it's not like a blatant disregard for understanding what was said.
And it's still like, I hear you, I see you, I am doing my best. And it's also like, we all have our shit with communication, and we're all some of us aren't, but most of us are trying to improve and unlearn, and a lot of my styles of communication are from when I was a kid.
Most of us are in that learning process and unlearning of what actually works for communication. Like I said, the temper tantrum of, it's your fault, you set me off, and I'm not seeing is a childish thing. It doesn't mean it's invalid. It just means it's not appropriate. So then how do I make it appropriate for now? It becomes, what I mean? We evolve as we communicate that way.
Yeah. We're all adults. You got to figure it out eventually.
Yeah. My hard this week is people with hidden agendas. Something we run into a lot in this life. And whether it's intentional or accidental, and those are actually very real things. I won't even talk shit because some people don't intend to do it. We all have our things. We all have our fears. We all have our needs to be reassured. But in that, it comes to communication and stating those things. But we've had to navigate, but I'm speaking selfishly as my heart, had to navigate people trying to get their ducks in a row before alerting us to the ducks.
Yeah, you gotta start with like, hey, here's my current thing. I'm working on it.
I like that this is my hard, and it's a fucking wound over here. You see that shit happen? You see how this was my hard, and I know! It's very rarely I get that kind of support on my heart.
I'm good. I'm not mad about it. It's fine. No worries. I have not a clue what you're talking about. Never dealt with it. Nope.
Like, you down. Like, literally, you've never done that before.
I'm gonna write that one down for my therapist next week. Just cut
you
this.
Got so no. This might be the whole video. Yeah, you've never It's like I almost didn't get that sentence out, and just yeah, you at least for fuck's sake.
I'm gonna need you to cut that clip so I can show my therapist instead of explaining it to her. I'll be like, "This is what happened. We need to talk about it." Like, I'm gonna share my screen with you for a second. Don't panic.
Holy fuck! Oh my god!
Anywho, yes, please explain. I
gotta take a second. I don't even know where I was.
Get your fucking ducks. Figure it out.
My heart is that still. It doesn't look like it's a heart right now because that was wild. Is like this go behind the back thing. Jill and I, and like I'm gonna be selfish. I've created a space here, and I could say this because I created a space before everybody else got into it. There were people who are allowed to, and will, and do, and should feel safe. Yeah, to feel safe to exist as they are when they come here. Like you've been a part of this tribe the whole time. And I do a really aggressive job at making sure that it is that. For me to start, my daughter, but that bleeds into how this space is operated and ran. And as we navigate life, Jill and I, and share with you guys and our public with how we do this and all of these things, like it sounds real great. You just whack your elbow.
I'm trying not to distract.
No, I felt something and then I saw this. That was good. Yeah, I love you. We've worked really hard to create this space, and as we navigate sharing our life with you guys and what that looks like and how we get to do this and the new connections, it's still open for people to come in here. And, whether they're close to us to begin with, or they're trying to be close to us, or want to be close to us, or just want to see what this life is like from the inside out. We are very open and honest with what we are looking for as a couple, as individuals, whether it's in connection, relationship, or otherwise. We are always open and honest, and we mean exactly what we say. But the last little while, the whole time in this life, but like really the last 3-ish months, there's been just experiences of people coming into our life and being very honest with us, and then not in a way where someone's talking to Jill, not behind my back. They're allowed to talk to Jill, but talking to Jill and giving or not giving information about a conversation that I've had with that person, also leaving out or adding information. And then when it doesn't jive, like Jill and I converse a lot about the way we connect with people. So when I ask Jill a question about a connection that's supposed to be an open-ended question, and goes, "Oh, that's not what they said to me, and that's news to me." You hear the shady? It's playing Jill against me. It's playing me against Jill in order to get to an end goal. And so far, unequivocally, the end goal
has been, see ya. That was just me waving bye to the end goal.
Yeah, the end goal, we still don't know. In any case, because it's been, I want to date one of you, I want to be in connection with one of you or both of you, but then playing us behind each other's back for some level of connection. And you've heard this in other episodes before, with Jill mentioning how she's had to navigate people wanting her until they see me or learn of me and they're immediately only interested in what they can get out of me, and using Jill to get there. This is my version of that. It's using connection to get at our space. And that one is weird because
it's hard.
I might have to shoot this again because like this one's I can tell I'm trying to dance around information to keep people's sanity, but like I'm having a hard time driving what I'm trying to say home because I can feel it. It's frustrating me.
You can start it. I think it's just like there's very few things in our life and in this life that are off the table.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're not up,
as long as you state your shit
about what you're here for or what you're hoping for, or even if you come in with one idea and that changes, that is fine. But you have to tell the people involved.
None of what I'm saying in my heart is about governing who Jill sees at all. My fight's actually not with Jill. My frustration and argument is with this person who sneakily went around over here and started making plans and connections with someone that we had agreed as a whole, we would be open and talking about in community. That's how this works. And then the communication never happened.
And there's plenty of opportunity for before it ever got brought to me, there was plenty of opportunity for it to be brought to him or us. Could have been a two birds, one stone. What do you say?
Two birds stoned at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it will always be hard when people aren't upfront. Like, I will never understand that in this life. Like, in our life, in this life, are very few things that are off the table. So why are we hiding and being sneaky and being not transparent about what we're up to? Like, you're not monogamous. You don't have to lie to your person because you think somebody else is hot. Like, you're literally allowed to. So why are we being sneaky about it?
It boils down to this: heart is being unsafe because I don't trust you now. And not like it's not my job to trust you. It's your job to make yourself trustworthy.
And it's also,
I'm allowed to accept that. And I do up until you show me that there's a reason not to. And in that lack of communication between the focus of the connection, like if I here we go, because this will tie it down for all of the people with their panties in a bunch about the possessiveness of this. If in this life I see beautiful, absolute, up my alley, 9 out of 10. Her profile says everything I want to see. Woman over there, but she's attached to a dude. Now I'm aware by their profile that they only play together. Cool, we're still there. So instead of going to her and going, hey, I would love the chance to go for coffee with the both of you, what I'm going to say is I'm going to like her stuff, but I'm going to go talk to the dude real quick and say, hey, I think you guys are a total vibe. I'm going to say exactly what I would have said to her. We should go for coffee. Why? Because I'm not after him. I don't actually like cis men. But like I can tolerate you. I have lots of friends. But I can be friends with him and be wanting that. You hear the dishonesty already? But like up front, I'm allowed to be attracted to who I'm allowed to. I don't like men. But I'm not being upfront honest. I'm not actually stating what I want or what I need or whatever the fuck. So nobody over there can make an informed decision. Maybe they actually want to play with me separately. Maybe they don't ever want to play a part. I'm now trying to drive a wedge there. No matter what happens, by not being fully upfront with what I'm intending, they could shut me out. That's the point of this life. But I'm not giving them all the information. I'm not being honest. And in that becomes unsafe. It becomes dangerous and untrustworthy and not a place that I want to be, not a place anybody should want to be, if somebody's not being upfront honest. Multiple people, multiple honesties.
Yeah, and you gotta give people the info they need to make their decision. You do whatever you want, do your thing, want what you want, live your life.
Consent is not a, can I do this? Can we try this? Yes. Consent is doubling down with full information. I need to be fully informed to give consent. If I don't have all of the information and I say yes, but there's a piece that I would have said no to, that's not informed consent. Simple when I say it that way. Maybe that's my hard, is the lack of informed consent I'm fucking noticing in this motherfucking lifestyle of people saying you should be good talkers and good communicators, and none of you fucks actually understand what that means. Sorry, none of you wonderful people understand what that means. I'm fucking annoyed.
I'm confident you guys understand what that means.
Sorry, our listeners are all wonderful communicators.
The you fucks was past you.
Yeah, jackasses in the back. I'm fine.
We're both fine. If you can't tell, everybody's fine over here today.
Joy, I didn't make it that far. Sorry.
My joy is getting to continue a connection, re-pick up a connection. One of those two feels right. Somebody I connected with fairly early on in this life. I don't know. The first time I went for coffee, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, before like in the beginning of summer, I think.
Yeah, so like fairly early, one of the first like coffees I probably went on solo. Life happened a little bit. We didn't talk for a couple months, and like life happens. I think that's one of the eases of this life is like there's not that obligation to be like we have to talk all the time, and people can just kind of
yeah.
What?
No, we say that
Yeah.
But we find that we are an anomaly.
Yeah. People can like ebb and flow as they need to. So it's just nice to have them back a little more consistently, and be able to spend time with each other more. Again, I was in their space last week. Her and her husband are also the cat people that I will hang out with all the time. I'm very allergic to cats, if you guys don't know that.
I'm allergic to cats in a different way.
Yeah, this is a side tangent, but like some people are weird about their cats. Like, I'm gonna say this with a little bit of hate. If you let your cats go in their little box and then walk on your counters, I'm judging you. So just like an easy person to be around, easy to be in their space, even though I'm very allergic to their animals because they're considerate of that. And just nice to like be back talking and hanging out a little bit more consistently and like feel the ease that I think is important with connections.
Yeah.
What's your joy?
Yeah, this week I don't know that I have a joy. I don't. Like, I'm sitting here brainstorming with Jill, and there's tons of small wins, and it's not that I don't want to share those with you, it's just they're not registering in the joy section of my body today. And I'm not sure why. I don't like faking joy. I think I don't like faking joy, and I think that's probably the underlying trauma or underlying growth is that like I should have joy for those things, and in the moment I'm sure I did and do and will, but like I'm also exactly who I am in this world, and I've spent my whole life for other people's sake faking joy. I've spent for everybody else's sake my whole life hiding the way that I've really felt, and like joy doesn't disappear. I still have the cabinet in my body, still have the section that I can draw on, but I refuse to fake it, even for you guys. I think it's not that the world's all doom and gloom. It's that currently I just don't have space for joy in my body to share with you guys.
Yeah, and I think like happiness and joy are two different levels, if that makes sense. Of like, we have lots of happy moments in this house. We have lots of like fun things that happen. There's a lot of laughter in this house, but happy and joy in my brain are like two different
like
levels.
Joy is like is a soul feeling for me. It comes from near my belly button. I can't turn it off if I want to. It's a really beautiful feeling. I know that you guys know what I'm talking about, and it's not that I'm depressed. I feel no way right now. Just sitting here trying to find a thing to share with you and joy, and I just don't have one. I have pockets of happiness throughout my week, you bet. But like joy, every other week is a real, like I know it, and it's easy to draw on. It comes from the same spot in my body and my being. But I also spent a lot of time healing and honoring the fact that my fucking life is not always joy. I spent a lot of time healing so that I don't have to be grateful for everything. I spent a lot of time unlearning the indoctrination of Christian heteronormative society that says that you should be grateful for the minimal shit you get through trauma and suffering and blah, 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 fucking blah. So you will have to excuse me this week, as I refuse to mask the fact that I just don't have a joy to share with you this week. And I will keep my happy moments to myself and recall them all and enjoy them all as I come through. But nothing that filled my soul to the point of feeling the need to share it with you or the want to share it with you guys this week.
I think that's important too, is like, you always see the cliches of like, find the good in every day. No, some days are allowed to just be dog shit. And they don't even have to be like shit. It can just like,
there's nothing bad.
Sometimes I say that in my posts of like, with my Sunday thoughts, like I'm like, half of the week you need, like sometimes a day can just be a day, a week can just be a week. It doesn't have to have an emotion attached to it. It doesn't have to be the best day or the worst day. It can just be a day. And I think that's okay to give yourself the grace of just like, yeah, it was a day.
Yeah, again, like I said, I'll get off this, I will get into work, my daughter will be here, I'll have a great time. I am not happy. That is not what this is. I just don't have a thing for you this week. And I'm sure there's a handful of you that are going to understand exactly what the fuck I mean. Mm-hmm. I don't feel any way.
Yeah, that's fair. Don't have to feel any sort of way. It's the perk of the house, perk of the podcast is you just get to show up and be.
Yeah.
And we're glad you're here. We're gonna talk about saw an interesting conversation and a question come through around obviously being poly and how to navigate the potential of loss. So more specifically, like in this life, yeah, we get to meet really cool people. We get to meet lots of really great people. We get to meet people, make connections all the time. Mm-hmm. But with that, how do we navigate the potential of losing that connection, the potential of loss? Because one of the perks of this life is not everyone's here to go get married, but that also means it could be 2 weeks, 2 years, 2 months, whatever. There's not really a timeline with relationships in this life either. So how do we navigate? How do we be excited about new connections with the potential of loss?
Yeah, that is a great question. I love this question for so many reasons. And this goes to self-awareness, and this goes to doing the work. Jill and I have talked a lot to you guys about jealousy, and this is the same vein. Jealousy's here. Jealousy has nothing to do with the other person. It's here. It's something we think we're lacking. It's something that's in us innately. In our life, we've experienced loss, suffering, tragedy, whatever the fuck. So we think somebody else is going to, what don't we have? What aren't we? Blah, blah, blah. Cool. The same work that's done there to realize that it's a me thing is done to realize that people are going to come and go. My frustration with my heart this week is because people come and go. Nobody wants fucking cool people to leave. Nobody wants the thing that you like to go away. But it smells like attachment and abandonment work that you need to do. And I, being who I am in trauma and who I am as a being, have plenty of that shit.
Yeah, like the biggest like perk and what makes this life easy in my brain is that like nobody's obligated to be here. We didn't sign papers and now you're stuck with me or it's going to cost thousands of dollars to get rid of me. Like you don't have to be here. And in my brain it's easy it's never easy to think about the potential of a loss because like I want people to want to be here. I want people to enjoy their time here. I want people to be happy to be here. Like who am I to be like, nah, you got to stay even though you're miserable. Like if this doesn't work for you anymore, this isn't what you want anymore, that's fine, go. I'm gonna be sad about it, but like I would rather you leave because it's no longer working than stay because you feel like you have to.
Yeah, and like we as like before I realized that I was poly, before that I realized I was pan, like it, all of the signs to this were there. Like we all have friends, we all have people in our life. How many of you still have lifelong friends? You know what I mean? How many of you still have the elementary school, the kindergarten friend that you had? Less than half? Less than 30% maybe? I still know where that nigga is. He's living his best life in Australia. The last time I checked. Like 30, 35 now. He's a year older than I am. We literally lived above each other for a long time. Like I do not consider him a friend. I don't see him. I haven't talked to him in years. We update each other every decade. He's a human being I fucking loved at one point and still have tons of love for today. Doesn't make him a friend, doesn't make him a thing. It makes him a human being that I care about. And if that train of thought ever changed, I would be devastated. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like if that's how I had to live, like every single time someone left, I would be devastated. Does it mean it doesn't hurt? No, it still sucks. But it's so much easier to navigate when you know the simple fact that people come and go. We are humans. How many of you have watched every single episode on Thursday? Life happens. Maybe you don't get to us till Friday. Maybe you don't get to us till Saturday. Maybe you have to wait a whole week. Maybe you have to catch up for 3. Like, it's so simple in your everyday schedule, yet we forget that happens in life for everybody. It's simple when you realize people have a life. Do I want to see my partner Riley like every week? at least once, twice, 3 times, sure, it'd be fucking cool. I love her. They're wicked. But is that how it goes? No. I actually haven't seen Riley since my birthday. It changes nothing between us. They love me and I love them deeply and pretty well permanently, no matter the connection as it's viewed in real life. Like it, understanding that at any point Riley could go, much much like everybody else. But how beautiful to know that love for a time. You know, for me, it's how beautiful to be loved by somebody that understands and sees me. Maybe they don't have time anymore. Maybe they don't have energy. Maybe something for them has changed. But what a fucking opportunity. What a beautiful period of time to be with somebody like that.
Yeah, I think it's dumb to let go of the time you get for the potential of not getting any more time. Like, why are we cutting off potential connections just because maybe one day they decide they want to leave?
Yeah, like it's weird because like even coming from monogamy, like outside of domestic abuse that I experienced, like I still there's no part of me that doesn't want to see my exes succeed and grow and do and find love the way that they need, the way that they feel. I like there's so much beauty in that. Like, and sure, they wounded me. I wounded them, guaranteed. It changes nothing. I'm a human being. I'm going to make mistakes. I've hurt people far worse. I've hurt people far less. I've been hurt far worse. I've been hurt far less. We all really are trying to do the best we can out here, and your intentions matter more than anything else. But as you impact people around you, yeah, it's not always going to be a copacetic jingle jangle of ha 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 ha. But it doesn't change the fact that no matter what happens, I want that person to succeed. That's love in my world. I want if Jill walked out of this house, there would be a time that would be really hard. But I would still want to see her crush the fuck out of life the way she was before I got here, before we got back here, and long after it. That's kind of the point to this thing. It's her life. I get to be a part of it currently. I wake up every day knowing she chooses to do this with me. If she ever chose not to, that's her choice. My life goes on. So does hers. It's not what's happening, just saying.
Yeah, and I think like they're to the point of the question of like, how do you still be excited about new connections? Like, there's always going to be something you gain from a new connection. Like, selfishly, I don't think we've said it on the podcast yet, but we're no longer. Is that the right way to word it? Yeah.
It's hard to say. I've tried to say it a couple of times, even to my therapist, and I was like,
I'm going to say it the way it's in my brain. Mm-hmm. We're no longer with Nicola.
Yes, even that like sounds. I get why it sounded weird in your head. Yeah. The three of us are no longer in a relationship together, and that's
that.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. And there's a reason, and we'll tangent time. There's a reason that we talk about vernacular because in that first sentence, you can hear how it sounds like
it's not us. We were a
unicorn. That's not what we. That's not never what this fucking was, and never will be in this house.
The three of us were together. We are not anymore.
And yeah, there. That's that.
And I had my time, which is part of the reason we haven't really talked about it much, is because I was big sad. But even with like being sad of losing a partner, losing a connection, losing a human, one of my first things was like, yeah, but here's all the things I learned. Here's all the things I confirmed for myself. Here's all the things I got to experience. Like, there will always be so much good. Even if a relationship ends, even if somebody decides to leave, I hope you still look for the good pieces of it. Like, there was so much good. I got to confirm that I am very gay. I got to be with another woman. Like, there are so many pieces where I'm like, yeah, that sucks that they left. But don't throw away the good that came out of it just because that person decided to walk away. And I think it gets easier to go out and want to form new connections and find more relationships when you remember that like there's going to be so much good that comes from it.
And of course it hurts. Grief is grief is grief. Loss is loss is loss. But if you're going to be afraid of that, you're never going to go nowhere. And that's outside of relationships. That's in life. If you're afraid of losing a thing, this is the problem with being black in the world, is that we're always at risk of losing everything all the time. It's the way that we have to live life. It's the way that we get on. You gotta know that it's a part of life.
Yeah, you can't stop doing your thing, living your life just because of the potential that it's gonna leave. And I had a moment, Ethan and I have talked about this, where like that loss temporarily changed how I typically operate in this life until I got annoyed with that. And I was like, that's dumb. Why is somebody leaving changing how I am as a human? Like, don't stop living life the way you want to, the way you need to, the way that feels right for you, just because somebody decided to leave, just because you're scared somebody's not going to like it, or you're scared that one day somebody's going to decide they don't want to be here anymore. Like, people can come and go, but that shouldn't change how you want to live this life. So sitting there being like, I'm not going to make new connections because what if they decide to leave, is dumb. What if they decide to stay? What if they're the coolest person you've ever met?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Being fearful of the unknown is a human condition. But if you lean into the fear, if you lean into the uncomfortable, you're going to find out so much more cool shit about yourself in this world. And this is, Jill and I are living proof. If you lean, there's nothing you won't get to experience. Like there just isn't. There's so much beauty out here on the other side of doing a little bit of more math. And I hate math, and we talk about it a lot, but do a little bit more math. You're right. It hurts. I'm not taking that from you. You're fucking right. This breakup hurt me in ways that I didn't show for many reasons. I'm a little bit more advanced at chopping the blocks out and figuring like, yeah, I made peace with it. I learned this thing. Hopefully they learn this thing. You know, hopefully they find happiness, whatever the fuck they're looking for over there. And that was it. On with life.
Yeah, it, as an anxious being, like, so what if they leave?
It genuinely is that. There's 7 billion motherfuckers on this world. Like you got to know that. Like there's a lot, and that's not saying go hunt and find them all. It means that people by nature are going to come and go.
Yeah,
and how wonderful to be a part of their life for that moment.
You were fine before them. You'll be fine after them.
You're better. You're better. Fuck.
Might be a little sad in the in between, a little angry, a little frustrated, whatever. But yeah, stop writing off people before you give them a chance to show you why they're here, what they can do with you, what they can help you learn, whatever it may be. The potential for more, the potential for new is always in my brain worth the risk of it not panning out.
Yeah. What if you get hurt? Like that's life, guys. You live in fear of those things. You're not gonna live. I'll end with that. You're gonna have to take that step, and that's why we're here.
It's big and scary, but
take that step. We'll encourage you. We'll watch you. We'll support you, but take it because you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Or stay stationary, but like fuck off out of here. Then like, I don't have time.
We don't really do stationary well in this house.
Haven't stopped moving.
We're going that way. You come with us. Come on, it'll be fun. Let's go.
But as always, we love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for being a part of these conversations. We want more. Please, God, ask us more conversations. Yeah. And more questions, Jesus Christ.
Thank you for giving us the space to talk about our things. Like, we love doing this podcast, and as much as it is for you guys, it's also been a really cool, and we could probably do a whole episode about this, a really cool space for us to navigate and learn from as well. And like within our connection and life and all the things, like there's been a lot of really cool things that have happened on this end since starting the podcast as well. So thank you for giving us the space to do it.
Love seeing all the comments come through, the conversations we have in our inbox, and some of them in the comments, and just the love and the support as we go through this and share with you guys and learn from you guys as well. So keep on keeping on. Share this, please. Copy and paste the link so that people can easily find it. We are 10 subscribers short on 100, which is crazy. We love that. We're at 90 as of this morning on Spotify there. So yeah, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, Apple Music, whatever the fuck it is.
You can find us at everywhere. Shifting the Lens Podcast on all the things. Direct links are always in our bio on the podcast page, YouTube, all the ways you can listen. are in there. You can find me, as always, at CoachJill.April.
If you have questions about mental health, cannabis, athletics, the gym, nutrition, it doesn't matter. Ask the question. If we don't have an answer, we'll find one.
Where can they find you?
Titties. You can find me here.
Titties.
Titties.
Love you, bye.